What up guys, iOS Expert 649. This is my iPhone 15 Pro Max on iOS 27 Beta 1. And the reason why I still have this on Developer Beta 1 is because there is a huge problem with Siri AI, I guess you can say. And that is that Apple is going ahead and suing ChatGPT. So I downgraded my 15 Pro Max back to 27 Beta 1 and it also resolved an issue I had with my date and time as well. So I'm going to be showing you what that has to be. It resolved an issue with my date and time. So, and it also resolved, and I'm also not going to be updating with this lawsuit going on. So basically, I have this iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's running iOS 27 Beta 1. I downgraded it using 3U tools without losing any data. So basically what ends up happening is I went into my settings and I noticed something that I wasn't able to do before. And that is, obviously, I put the day all the way in the future. And yeah, obviously you can go to January 1st, 2069 at 5 p.m. That is one thing you can do on this 15 Pro Max that I wasn't able to do. Like, it was capped at 2037, right? It was capped at like 2037, and it was and the limit was like that, or no, it was like this. That is probably what the limit was before I did the downgrade. Now, when I do this, the limit is at 5 p.m. January 1st, but January 1st, 2069. So I'm going to put this back to automatic time zone. And yeah. So that's the first issue that this addressed. But the huge problem I was talking about with Siri AI is that Apple is suing ChatGPT. And you may be like, why isn't Apple going to use Gemini? Chances are that's the problem. Chances are that's precisely the problem. ChatGPT is more reliable than Gemini, or at least when it comes to iPhones stuff, it is. And I know I can say this scientifically. It said it identified years incorrectly. But when I went into search on Safari, Google search, it went, basically, I used it. I went into Google search and it basically mixed 2020 up with 2012, right? 2012 was 8 years before 2020. But it said that 2012 was after 2020. And I had that problem inside of Google's overview in Safari. I asked it in Firefox, and Firefox said 2020 was 8 years after 2012. And this matters when I'm researching stuff about what I like fixing bugs and that stuff, and showing people how to use devices to their full potential. Basically you won't be able to use Siri to its full potential if you have like iOS. If Apple ends up going with AI overview, you're not going to be able to use Siri to its full potential anymore. And that is basically what the huge problem is with this, because like Apple and Google spit out the wrong answers. Apple and Google spit out the wrong answers when you combine them like that. 2012 is obviously 8 years before 2020, but Safari said 2012 was before 2020, or 2012 was after 2020. And yeah, that is obviously not a good thing. And that's obviously really concerning if Apple's suing ChatGPT, because obviously they're going to have to use that model if Gemini becomes the standard. So in terms of that, that's pretty much the big scoop on why Siri AI has a huge problem right now. And of course, the other thing is the regions. Basically, it only works in English US, and if you're not inside English US, so in other words, you're in Canada or you speak French, Spanish, you're not gonna have any Apple Intelligence at all. Like, I can't even launch. There's not even an option for visual intelligence on my 15 Pro Max. There is no option for Apple Intelligence on my 15 Pro Max because I'm not in the US. I do speak English, but I'm not in the US. So, and that's basically why. I do speak English, but I'm not in the US. And that is why I can't have Apple Intelligence at all on my 15 Pro Max. And yeah, that's basically it's a huge problem with Siri AI. Has two huge problems. So that's basically what I'm probably going to title this video is Siri AI, two huge problems. Because it officially does have two huge problems. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to make this a thumbnail. Hold on. I'm actually going to make this my thumbnail. Here. That's my thumbnail. So, Siri AI has two huge problems with that thumbnail. That's probably what my video is gonna look like. So, alright guys, thank you for watching, and as always, peace out.